past several weeks, we have been investigating how and why this could be allowed to happen. And now Eyewitness News reporter Josh Haskell shows you what's being done to get people services and start moving some of these RVs out.
Along the peninsula, and they're attracting people from all walks of life. Night Beach Joe Vasquez is in San Mateo County with the staggering new numbers.
They're not on highways anymore. They're parked outside schools, clinics, diners, and they're not passing through. They live there, from Eugene to Santa Cruz. Thousands of Americans now call an RV their last hope of housing. This isn't van life. It's how the system fails in full view.
Well, the Low Income Housing Institute is the group tasked with pulling this off. They say they're looking at about 12 sites right now, have yet to narrow it down to where this could actually become a reality, though they say the services they provide.
Stick around, because the most forgotten city might be your own. How do you solve homelessness when the shelter is an engine that still runs? Let us know in the comments. Are vehicle dwellers homeless or resourceful? The streets of Eugene weren't built for motorhomes, but now they wear them like armor. Commercial boulevards, neighborhood blocks, and trail-adjacent lots all host growing chains of parked vehicles that haven't moved in weeks. Some people still call it van life, but there are no influencer photo shoots here. Just silence, worn tires, and bucket ice chests. After dark, tarps drop, mattress shapes appear behind curtains, and the whole street becomes a living room. You can't walk 5 blocks without running into a home on 4 wheels. And no, it's not legal. It's just surviving. Eugene's hands-off policies gave birth to what looked like a solution, but it wasn't one. There's no mapping system for vehicle dwellers. No city-monitored safe zones. Just fragments, church lots, rotating stops, unsupervised curbsides. The politics called it compassion. The result? Unregulated chaos, parking complaints, and people stuck rebooting their lives every 72 hours. One van dweller described it best. Every time I find safety, it expires. There's no structure, no backing, just software neglect wrapped in progressive branding. The irony? Eugene still boasts about green energy, music festivals, and public art installations, but blocks from downtown murals and organic cafes. Toddlers are being raised in RVs parked outside laundromats. Seniors plug battery packs into stolen power lines. Workers set sunrise alarms, not for work, but to move their homes before citations. The city gives out warning tags more than it gives handouts. An entire class is forming here, people housed, but movable, uncounted, and waiting. Living outside the system, beside the system, ignored by the system. And when you ask officials what comes next, they answer with ribbon cuttings and reports. Rents climbed nearly 40% in under 5 years. Service wages rose a fraction of that. The result is predictable. Nurses living behind clinics, food workers sleeping behind stores, baristas curled in minivans outside cafes. The American dream here has shrunk to roughly 9 feet wide. But don't confuse the parking brake for permanence. In Eugene, people keep their tanks half full, just in case the cops knock before sunrise. Salt Lake skyline cuts into pristine air, framed by snow and glass. But step away from subsidized tech towers and you'll find a new grid. RVs under freeway overpasses, vans wrapped in reflective blankets, cars ice over on warehouse lots with people inside. Nobody designed it, but here it is. Salt Lake's vehicle homelessness exploded after 2020. First came housing loss, then policy confusion, then enforcement, shelters filled, camps cleared. The parked cars, they stayed and froze. People started surviving winters in cabins with wheels, but no insulation. Some still are. When officials enforced camping bans in public parks, the tents vanished fast, but the people didn't. They dug into their dashboards. What used to be cars for commuting became capsules for heating, sleeping, and praying the engine would start again by dawn. Salt Lake winters bring sub-zero wind chills. Parking lots become ice zones. Blankets lose to physics. The engine is a space heater, the battery a lifeline between survival and hypothermia. And when gas runs out, heaters stop and people disappear. Quietly, alone, found too late. Salt Lake knows how to help. Their Housing First initiative shifted thousands off the streets and into apartments. But all that success skips vehicles. If you live in an RV, you're not street homeless. If you're not in shelter, you're not entered into casework. If you move every 48 hours, nobody finds you. The system works best for those most visible, and worse for those who learn to hide. Outreach teams post signs in transit stops, but nobody's putting flyers on windshields at 3 a.m. So here's what life looks like when you're uncounted. One expired tag gets you a $120 ticket. Miss that fine and a warrant follows. Your vehicle, your home, can be towed, impounded, auctioned off. And when that happens, you're not just homeless, you're wrecked. One woman shared her cycle. Move every 2 nights, sleep less than 4 hours, cry during her shift, fill the tank, repeat. It's not lawlessness Salt Lake fears. It's visibility. And cars on the curb make privilege too uncomfortable to ignore. Battle Creek, Michigan was built on breakfast. Kellogg's made the skyline. A once thriving city of industry, cereal, and stable paychecks. But look closer now. RVs and grocery store lots. Passenger vans with taped over windows along the Kalamazoo River. People still call a home, but now they sleep steps from where they used to clock in. The big companies automated. The union shrunk. The economy didn't leave all at once. It just stopped protecting the people who built it. And when factories closed, so did front doors. Homes didn't just empty, they rolled away. What makes Battle Creek different is the pace of collapse. Here, the unraveling feels personal. One paycheck gone, one layoff, and suddenly families are living in campers never meant for 4 seasons. Local rent averages $950, a number that looks small until you compare it to wages. $14 an hour won't cover it. That's before gas, food, phone, the basics that make survival even technically possible. Most folks working full-time still end up spending half or more on housing. A flat tire can trigger an eviction cascade. Real homelessness begins with math, and people don't arrive here from nowhere. Many are from nearby cities, Flint, Detroit, Grand Rapids, seeking relief from stricter policing and higher costs. Battle Creek looks calmer from a distance, but under it, tension. The city doesn't have safe parking, no vehicle case programs, no nightly check-ins. Churches try to cover the gaps, and community fridges are good, but none of it's built to last. Here, vehicle dwellers become ghosts with tags. Park wrong once, and your house gets towed. You don't recover from a $460 impound bill on minimum wage. If you're in that cycle, your days start with keys, end with wheels. Park, rest, hope the lot allows it. Wake up, move, start over. The library is a bathroom stop. The gas station is your shower. The noise inside the van never stops. Kids coughing, weather pounding down in storms, and under it all, the fear someone's going to knock. One community volunteer put it best. You never know how many people are here until you count headlights. We lost phone numbers for license plates. At first glance, Santa Barbara doesn't look like it has a crisis. Spanish-tiled rooftops, million-dollar homes carved into hills, palm trees arching toward perfect golden light. But quiet the brochure and count after dark. Nearly 500 people per 100,000 are sleeping without shelter, and over 400 of them live in vehicles. You'll find RVs hidden in shopping center lots, vans along cliffs beside the ocean, compact cars line up outside schools. Beauty here is magnifying problem, because in a city where rent starts at $2,400, the view offers no mercy. There is a model here, the Safe Parking Program. It offers around 150 secure spots on church lots across the city, bathrooms, caseworkers, some social services. It works. People feel safer. Some even transition to leases. But 150 spaces? That barely covers a third of those in need. And the wait list? Months long. So many stay invisible, parking behind supermarkets, rotating through industrial zones, avoiding enforcement. Success stories are real, but the supply curve is a cliff. Santa Barbara created a lifeboat, then stopped building boats. And this city could solve this. It has philanthropy. It has government interest. But it also has power blocks that hate reminders. Tourism brings in billions. And the last thing hotels want is headlights outside resorts. Neighborhood associations filed daily complaints. NIMBY lawsuits delay shelter openings. Even city council members dodge questions about long-term housing for vehicle dwellers. So they settle. Just enough safe lots to say, we're doing something. Just enough enforcement to keep RVs pushed out of downtown. Movement becomes the only promise. Meanwhile, teachers sleep along the beach. Restaurant employees live in vans 2 zip codes from their jobs. You can serve wine at a sunset wedding here and still go home to a parking ticket. One caregiver leaves her hospital shift, microwaves dinner in a Walmart lot, and sleeps beside strangers who have nowhere else to go. Ask her what she wants. A door that locks, she says. Not hope, not millions. Just 4 walls and a key that fits. There's no highway out of Honolulu, no state line to cross. When rent gets too high here, you can't just drive somewhere cheaper. You drive to the beach and park your life in a van. The view is stunning. Tourists pay thousands for it. And across the street, service workers sleep in cars under banyan trees. Honolulu now has one of the highest vehicle homelessness rates in America. Nearly $2,000 a month for rent, $14 an hour for work. That equation traps people. Paradise becomes pressure. Living in a car on an island comes with rules your engine can't help you escape. Beach parking has time limits. Residential areas get ticketed. And outside of late-night church lots, there are no legal overnight options that mean anything. One couple gets up hourly to move their van down the block just to avoid attention. Police sweeps come in clusters after tourist season peaks. If you're too successful at hiding, you fall through support cracks. Too visible, and you're fined out of stability. And the costs don't stop at rent. A gallon of milk in Honolulu, $7. Gas? Sometimes over $6 a gallon. Groceries, medicine, even diapers. Every inch of survival is imported. Vehicle residents spend so much keeping food cold, or tanks full that they lose their last shot at saving. And yet they're working every day. Hotels full of honeymooners, tables full of tourists, all made possible by workers who go home to beach lots. You serve $115 dinner plates, then sleep in the back seat on a rolled towel. Outreach in Honolulu happens, but capacity can't keep pace. Outreach programs run out of lot space within days of opening new zones. Case managers work double caseloads. And if your vehicle breaks down, options vanish. Mechanics don't offer payment plan. Towing off island? Not even possible. Your car gets impounded, and that's it. Your home's gone. One woman lost her RV because the engine died and ended up in a tent along a beach known more for headlines and help. She used to greet guests in Waikiki hotels. Now she hides when tourists walk past. In New York, homelessness isn't hidden. It's everywhere. But what most people miss are the ones sleeping just behind the glass, not in tents, in Hyundais, in rusting Priuses, in work vans without logos. Thousands of New Yorkers live in vehicles, circling side streets and dead ends across the outer boroughs. There's nowhere to park legally. No official safe lots. No shelters for car dwellers. These aren't oversized RVs. They wouldn't fit anyway. These are microhomes on wheels, risking citations with every sunrise. And they're invisible until they're gone. The shelter system in New York is massive, largest in the country, but it was never built for vehicle-based homelessness. If you have wheels, you don't register. If you don't sleep on cardboard, you're undocumented. So cars rotate through illegal spots night after night, fuel burning, sleep broken by parking rules, and police knock-ons. In winter, it turns deadly. Engines run non-stop to stay warm. Carbon monoxide hovers in closed spaces. One mistake, and someone doesn't wake up. Frost settles over back seats like silence. Parking is its own war. Tickets stack up fast. Stay in one location too long, and your car gets booted, then towed. You don't just lose shelter, you lose everything inside. Clothes, resumes, medicines, heaters, paperwork. Most people living this way still have jobs. They clock in, serve your lunch, teach your kids, drive delivery vans. But a single miscalculation, shift runs late, can't move the vehicle in time, and their shelter's impounded. That's what homelessness looks like here. For working wheels that can disappear in a minute, and still, New York's plans ignore them. The focus stays on clearing subways, breaking up sidewalk camps. Headlines love depictions of danger, but this is quieter, more fragile. A group of women interviewed last winter were sleeping in Nissan Sentras across Astoria. One worked retail, another was finishing nursing school. None were a case file. Their hoodies froze overnight. Their windows fogged every morning. When one's car got repossessed, she slept upright on the subway for 3 weeks. You don't always notice homelessness here because it pays parking meters. You walk through San Francisco thinking the tents define its crisis. But look again. Some of its most invisible homelessness is on wheels, legally registered, quietly parked, deeply buried. Teachers in RVs, cafe workers in converted buses, whole families in old delivery trucks. The city talks about tech money, but you can't code your way out of rent. A one-bedroom here averages over $3,200. Paychecks don't scale that fast, so people move into vehicles, and suddenly mobile isn't a feature. It's the final fallback before everything breaks. And here's the twist. San Francisco spends over $600 million a year battling homelessness, but most of that funds shelter beds, supportive housing, and street outreach, not systems for vehicle dwellers. It's a budget built on old definitions. Cars aren't counted. RVs don't trigger case management. And if you're caught between zip codes and zoning laws, the help never exactly finds you. One woman living in a van near the Mission District asked for rental assistance. She was told to come back when she lost a vehicle. It was all she had left. Safe parking exists, but just barely. There are city-run pilot programs offering around 200 vehicle slots with bathrooms, security, and outreach. But estimates put over 2,000 people living in cars or vans across the 7 hills. And the rest? They burn through spots, driving endless loops around 72-hour parking signs. It's musical chairs with 1,800 fewer chairs. And it's not just stressful, it's dangerous. One flat tire can mean boot, tow, loss of ID documents, and erasure. Try getting back on your feet when your only address is a license plate. The real devastation is that most of San Francisco's vehicle dwellers had homes here once. Many lived in rent-controlled apartments that got converted, sold, or priced beyond reach. Others lost leases during the pandemic and never recovered. Some used to work in the very startups whose headquarters they now sleep parked outside. You see Teslas pass by rusted vans, rooftop brunches above generator-humming campers. The wealth is visible, so is the suffering. It's just that one gets free Wi-Fi and the other gets moved along. San Jose is Google cafeterias, cloud storage HQs, and AI think tanks. It's also a place where thousands of people sleep in cars near the job postings they answer during the day. The wealth is outrageous, but if you're not in tech, you're in trouble. 2-bedroom apartments average $4,000. That math broke years ago. San Jose didn't just get expensive, it got exclusive. The wires carrying innovation stretch over streets full of parked RVs that never move. Engines off, lights dimmed, whole lives frozen on boulevards. The vehicle homelessness crisis here didn't fade after COVID. It expanded. Eviction bans ended. Pandemic rent programs dried up. Then came the rebound. Landlords raised rents. Companies called workers back, and people who've been holding on with one last cable bill slipped. Suddenly, that DoorDash driver, that office janitor, that preschool assistant, now they're stealth parking behind gyms, catching naps before shifts, paying to shower in gas stations. The system wasn't built to absorb them, and now it can't see them either. Unlike San Francisco, San Jose doesn't even fake scale. The city has safe parking lots, but only a handful, hidden behind bureaucratic gating or long wait lists. The rest of the time, vehicle dwellers live like shadows, moving every 2 days, marking gas stations that don't call cops, trading locations over text threads and Facebook groups. Council meetings argue that more parking programs will attract more homelessness. So instead, they solve it by staring at spreadsheets and passing overnight bans. You don't help people by ignoring their engines. At night, tech campuses glow neon. But if you look closer at their perimeters, you'll see outlines of vans, staff in the lunchroom, janitors on call, line cooks catching sleep before 5 a.m. prep shifts. These people built the ecosystem, but the newsletters talk about them like outsiders. San Jose's housing crisis isn't a glitch. It's the system functioning as designed. Some aspire to change the world. Others just want a quiet, legal place to park and wake up without a ticket on the windshield again. Los Angeles doesn't hide its vehicle dwellers. It drives past them. From Venice to Van Nuys, thousands of RVs stretch bumper to bumper on public sidewalks. Rows of aluminum, tarp roofs, and rusting ladders. Some blocks look like miniature RV parks, except there's no office, no leases, no plumbing. Just families, seniors, full-time workers parked in front of luxury condos and million-dollar homes. If San Francisco hides its crisis in fog, LA lays it bare under palm trees and glaring sun. This isn't accidental. It's architectural inequality. The city has programs, some of the most built out in the U.S. Over a dozen safe parking sites, nonprofit partnerships, and pilot reforms. They help, but they can't match the scale. At any given time, over 10,000 people are estimated to live in vehicles in LA County. Safe lots, fewer than 2,000 legal spots. And outside those, enforcement, weekly sweeps, no overnight parking, signs growing like weeds. You get tagged, then warned, then towed. For people who already lost an apartment, it's a second eviction, this time with no door to close behind them. Where you park determines who complains. In some neighborhoods, residents organize with clipboards and security cams. Elsewhere, locals hand out food. The city tries to balance both worlds but fails either fully. Enforcement rotates by zip code. Cleanups relocate behind deadlines. Meanwhile, vehicle dwellers drive drive endlessly, spending money on gas, not groceries. It isn't just survival fatigue, it's civic whiplash. You're legal until 9 p.m., worn by 3 a.m., and gone by dawn. Try holding a school schedule when you sleep in 5 locations a week. And still, these are working people. They clean the studios, prep the coffees, fix sidewalks they can't live near. One man works 60 hours a week as a handyman, but sleeps in a gutted Sprinter van behind a donut shop. His tools live with him. His back door locks with a rope. He sends cash to his mother in Mexico every month. It's not about pride, he said. It's about time. LA's housing crisis isn't about dreams interrupted. It's about lives exhausted and dignity running on backup power. Santa Cruz isn't just picturesque. It's overloaded. Redwoods, roller coasters, cliffside apartments worth millions. But one stat tears the pretty veneer, 825.9. That's the number of people experiencing homelessness per 100,000 here, the highest rate in America. And the most alarming part? Over 2,000 of them live in vehicles, 5 times the national average. This isn't a crisis. It's collapse, tight zoning, tourist pricing, tech spillover, pandemic aftermath, agricultural underpaid workers, students with nothing near campus. Everyone ends up circling the same costs and sleeping in parking lots inches from the sea. Watsonville, just south of Santa Cruz, compounds everything. Farm workers drive miles to the fields each day, then park RVs illegally in mobile home lots at night because they're cheaper and less likely to be towed. Entire families live in aging campers on unstable gravel, bunched together behind factories or gas stations. These are essential workers picking California's food, but they live with no plumbing, no AC, and no legal alternative. One caseworker said, "It's the infrastructure collapse, just visible enough to ignore. The cities try." Santa Cruz runs a safe spaces program with 70 assigned vehicle spots. Watsonville partners with churches for side lot options when it can. Outreach volunteers offer hygiene kits, food, and charging ports. Anything to make nights survivable. But 70 spots for 2,000 people? That's not a solution. That's a headline you hope burns slowly. Because the majority still bounce nightly from boulevard to boulevard, always one parking citation or mechanical failure away from total unraveling. Advocacy fights zoning pushback from wealthy homeowners, while gas prices gobble poorer. The scariest part isn't what's happening now. It's what this predicts. If Santa Cruz is the model, then this is a glimpse into the future of every overpriced, underplanned coastal city in America. It shows us exactly what happens when housing policy stalls, wages freeze, and enforcement pretends to be planning. When life moves a few feet per night, until one morning, the vehicle doesn't start. No sunrise fixes that. No fine ends it. And no city wants to admit they already parked this crisis too long ago. They're not in the headlines. They're in parking lots, at red lights, behind stadiums and grocery stores. They serve our food. They clean our schools. They bag your groceries and roll your coffee, then sleep behind the buildings they can't afford to live inside. No running water. No real protection. Just 4 wheels and hope on a gas budget. And for every city we covered, there are 5 more still pretending this doesn't exist. Still calling it a parking violation, not a person. So if this story made you pause, even for a second, don't scroll. Subscribe, share, comment, because someone out there is refreshing this feed, parked on 5%, looking for proof that someone sees them. Be that proof.